Republicans in Congress are accusing President Biden of redefining infrastructure in his more than $2 trillion proposal. They're calling it a job-crushing slush fund. The president is set to meet with a bipartisan group of lawmakers today in an effort to sell the bill to them. Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito was part of a group that met with him on the stimulus bill that got no GOP votes in the Senate. Senator Capito joins us now. She's also the ranking member on the Environment and Public Works Committee. So obviously infrastructure is very near and dear to your heart. Let me get your take about what's, let's look at call for one, folks. Anita Dunn, who of course is with the White House, she said, if you looked up bipartisan in the dictionary, I think it would say support from Republicans and Democrats. It doesn't say the Republicans have to be in Congress. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that if you're going to actually have a bipartisan infrastructure package, as we've had numerous times in the past, you have to have buy-in from leaders, from legislative leaders. I mean, I think that goes without question. And I think we have had a lot of conversations. I'm speaking all the time with Senator Carper, who's the leading Democrat on EPW. We've been to the White House together to talk about this. So there are ongoing talks. I think the expansive definition of infrastructure that we see in this sort of Green New Deal wish list is called to question. And I don't think the American people, when they think of infrastructure, are thinking of home health aides and other things that are included in this bill.
I was thinking, though, if they want to redefine what bipartisan is, I mean, it could work both ways. Because right now you could say that there's a strong bipartisan majority in America strongly disagrees and disapproves of the way that Biden is handling the border. So, you know, that could work both ways on them. Take a listen to Chris Christie. He's talking about this very thing, like how do you define it? But I want to ask you if that will really matter to people like in your constituents who might want to see some of this progress. Watch.
Right.
You cannot call a $400 billion plan to force unionization in states to say that taking care of increasing Medicaid payments in states is infrastructure. This is the care economy. This is care infrastructure. It's baloney. Lying is not popular. It's not infrastructure, George.
So with that messaging that Christie is pointing out there, can that work with constituents in your state?
Well, I mean, I just spent 2 weeks at home. We toured a lot of road and bridge projects that are ongoing that need to give our governors the flexibility to be able to pursue forward what works in rural America, urban America. We opened a new transit station in southern West Virginia. We looked at a wastewater and clean drinking water project in the northern part of the state. Those are the basic needs, along with broadband being a new basic need, in my opinion, that I think where we need to focus and where we have that bipartisan sort of synergy where we have in the past gotten together and we can get together again. So I think we've got to take some of this extraneous stuff out. And I think it's really wrong and misleading to the American public for the president and others to say that we're not willing to look, we as Republicans are not willing to look forward to what the infrastructure of the future is. You know, we passed a bill 21-0 a year ago that had electric vehicle charging stations and other resiliencies in construction materials, some of the things that I think are going to be important moving forward. But that is just a small part. 15% of the bill is in that. Let's look at what everything else is.
Would you have any advice for the members, the Republicans that are headed up to the White House today? You're not included in this particular meeting, but you were in the one on February 1st where you and 9 other Republicans went and said, we'd like to try to work with you. Of course, that didn't go anywhere. Should these Republicans going into this meeting approach it any differently?
Well, I think what I would say is you've got to reemphasize what working together is. If you have two negotiating positions and the president doesn't move off of his position, which is what happened under the COVID, we moved off of our original position as Republicans, the 10 of us. We came back with a counteroffer, and it was dead silence, and they moved on to reconciliation. So I think my problem is I don't want to be used as a tool of, say, bipartisanship only for the window dressing.
Yeah,
I want to get in there and really work it. Yeah, the optics of it. And then they're going to go ahead and do what they want anyway with this reconciliation. That, I think, is the danger. And the American public don't want that.
All right. Well, we'll see how it turns out. They haven't had the meeting yet, but we'll check it out. Thank you, Senator.
All right. Thanks, Dana.